presentation for today about employer branding in the age of AI. Useful and find out how to stay trusted, human, and relevant in 2026. My name is Diana Soprana. I'm the founder of Soprana Personnel International, Soprana Personnel Norge, and Nordic Baltic Solutions companies. And here in the corner, you will see the QR code that you can scan and reach out to me. If you have any questions, feel free to write. My assistant Simona is present here, and she will be helping and passing the questions that we will answer at the end of this 20-25-ish minute presentation. So first of all, what is our agenda today? I will be sharing about why employer branding is so critical, especially now. It has been changing since the time that I have began talking about it some 10 years ago. What makes a strong employer brand, how AI is transforming employer branding and recruitment, what changes in 2026 are coming compared to last year, and of course summary and all the checklist of what we are speaking today you will receive as our little present to you, so you don't need to summarize or take notes because we will share that. So first of all, let's jump into the part why employer branding is critical for organizations. I will be speaking a lot about Nordic labor market reality because talent shortages are reported across most key industries in the Nordic region, including services, technology, manufacturing, public sector. And we are speaking that if earlier it was the employer who had the power to select and make the decision, so now it's the candidates who are making decisions and dictating the conditions for getting employed in one or the other company. And according to research, almost 80% of employers in Sweden and over 70% in Norway report difficulties filling roles due to skills and talent shortages. We're working a lot in manufacturing, in hospitality sectors, also in IT sector, and we can see that in some cases people are afraid that they will be substituted by AI. However, in a lot of cases it's not true, because there is a need, and because people are not moving so much and trying to keep their work and don't change anything because of the worldwide tensions, political tensions. So employee mobility has increased. We have some trends that I will be sharing, such as job hopping, and job hopping has been becoming more and more prevalent in the market. And we also have job hopping, job hugging, and the other ones. I will mention it later. So talent availability has become a limiting factor for business growth. It's not only an HR issue. And in 2026, we see that the change of employees in the labor market is becoming increasingly driven not only by compensation, the salary, but also by a sense of security, clarity, and growth opportunities. And of course, these are the predictables that we can predict and change using our AI systems and analyze KPIs. And it's much easier to notice and predict this. Uncertain future, technological change, a more transparent labor market. These are the ones that are shaping new patterns of behavior. Three parallel trends are becoming increasingly visible in the European labor market: job hopping, job hugging, and drive promotion. And these trends are coming from the same reality, but the result is different employee choices or psychological behavior at workplace. So why traditional employer models are not no longer working? So first of all, traditional employer models focus mainly on salary and job security, and they are no longer sufficient because employees evaluate employers based on leadership, on the culture, on everyday work experience. They have the possibility to get more info of what is happening in the organization using social media, using anonymous posts on social media groups, asking what is it to work in this organization. They also have access to see the culture shared by youngest generations on TikTok, for example, some videos, some positive, some fun videos, which is also becoming a part of employer branding. And it's not only about top managers who are being visible and sharing how nice it is to work here, but it's also about some simple things, what people are doing in their workplaces. How fun is that, you know? And people are attracted to the things that are having meaning, purpose, and of course, where it's nice working environment, and where saying that we have friendly team is actually meaning something rather than empty words. So it's also becoming low tolerance for unclear expectations for management and inflexible working models. I have recently published my book that remote is human, and how it can be working, managing teams worldwide, managing teams internationally. Either it's some small parts, but this is what employees are preferring, and especially employees who have higher skills that are in demand in the market. They tend to expect that in exchange of these skills, they are not necessarily expecting some super higher salary range, but they also want something extra. For example, working from home possibility. So organizations that fail to adapt experience higher turnover and weaker employer reputation. We keep on seeing that some bigger companies, they are strengthening return to the office policy, but people that we see in job interviews, they prefer to choose organizations and are ready sometimes to leave if they lose this flexibility, flexible conditions. Dry promotion. I was saying in one of seminars on in January that it's like sounds like dry January. So what is dry promotion? It's a form of career progression where responsibilities and expectations are increasing, but compensation, authority, or real growth do not. It is sometimes positioned by employers that look, here you can get a higher job position, but you will not maybe get that proportional value or salary as you would get actually working there. But it is also a win-win situation, because in some cases, employees are taking this as an opportunity to increase and upgrade their CV with having and showing that they have been working in, for example, leadership position. And whenever they are changing, it's also already the value and learning possibilities. So for organizations, it may seem like a cost-efficient solution. For employees, it sometimes can create an illusion of growth. However, it depends also on how you can use it and how you can position this in your future job search. So if it is not managed properly, this dry promotion situation for employees, it can be leading to frustration, disengagement, or a reassessment of their future. Job hopping, it's not that it's very new trend, because we have been seeing more and more people going from one job to another, increasing salary like that. They are changing jobs every 1 or 2 years, and it's more like a strategic decision rather than impulsive reaction to dissatisfaction, because now, according to the EU Pay Transparency Directive, it reduces information gaps. So, and it enables employees to compare opportunities in the labor market more easily. Of course, you can get onto the website and you can compare how your colleagues in the market working in the same position in the same city, how much are they earning. And this is allowing to jump and make a decision to go for a higher salary. And research shows that around 40% of employees in Europe would consider changing jobs, even for a relatively small difference in pay for growth opportunities, but keeping in mind that the pay is higher. Career mobility is increasingly viewed as a long-term professional strategy. Talent goes global. However, there is one thing from my personal experience as working in recruitment industry for almost 20 years, that what is happening lately with this job hopping trend, it is strategic from employees' perspective. And also, if earlier employers would be looking a little bit negatively to the fact that employees have been changing jobs very often, now it seems like it's getting more and more okay, and not surprising that somebody is changing job every 1, 2 years, 3 years. Yes, sometimes it is that, oh, we're looking for someone long term, but really, can organization always predict that in this market, in this geopolitical situations, that the market will be all the time good, that the season will be good, and there will not be influences, and organization will be also able to provide it long-term position for the person. So what drives job hopping? Again, greater transparency around market pay levels and career opportunities. Sometimes it's about the mismatch between promises and the employee's actual experience within organization, because sometimes candidates are saying, I was promised this and this and that, but I see it's nothing like this. Everything is going to the different direction. There are no changes, and I don't see the future. Sometimes it's about limited internal growth and learning opportunities. Sometimes it's about the salary, because salary in the market still it's increasing little by little. And if somebody is going to another job, they can get higher increase in salary than in their job. But sometimes it happens that candidates are participating in job interviews, and they get the offer and they go back to their current employer, and they are saying, oh, look, I have received this job offer. Can we negotiate about the same salary increase here? If not, they are leaving for the other new, better pay. So let's move to job hogging trend. It's like sounds very soft and very interesting trend. It has been increasing recently, and it means that employees make decision to remain in the organization, not because of purpose or fulfillment, but due to fear and uncertainty. It's like fear of becoming obsolete. It has become one of the most prominent emotional states in the context of AI adoption, because almost half of employees in Europe are concerned that AI may reduce their value in the labor market. And this fear, it is becoming increasing, and especially in the elder generations who don't always know how to use it. Organizations are not always introducing them to AI, what are the possibilities, how to use it, and they have this fear for themselves. So this fear encourages defensive stability but reduces internal engagement. So the person is remaining in the organization, but because they are afraid that somewhere else it can be even worse and AI will replace them. So why is it a risk for organization, for employers? Employees who stay but are emotionally not engaged, they have lower productivity, because over time, trust in an organization and its leader gradually declines, and the organization loses innovation and internal energy, even if employee turnover remains low. I have had a client where I came for the one of the first meetings for recruitment projects, and he said, "Oh, you know, Diana, I am so proud because most of our team members, they are working here for almost 20 years." And I'm like, okay, it sounds like it's the turnover is very low, but are your team members innovating? How are they productive, engaged? And he was like, well, yeah, that's a problem. And I always believe that sometimes high turnover is needed. It's like refresh, renewing organization. So whenever people are leaving, it's not always the bad thing, even though somehow we have this from the theoretical side, the belief that the lower turnover, the better it is in the organization. So that's two different sides. Job hugging also often masks deeper issues related to the culture and leadership in the company. So, what are the employee expectations? Work-life balance is considered a core value rather than a benefit in Nordic countries. Universum research shows that over 70% of young professionals in Scandinavia prioritize flexibility and well-being over salary, which is also about transparency, fairness, respectful leadership. So these are becoming now bare minimum standards. Employees are seeking for meaning at work, purpose at work, learning opportunities and personal growth more and more, because it's also influenced by social media. What we have super quick videos, TikTok, reels, and so on. The attention span is different. We have a lot of information that we are coming, but sometimes it's about how can I use that, what's in it for me. And whenever somebody is coming to work, they are expecting, what is my growth, where is my path? So using AI, actually we can measure it, we can measure much, go deeper in KPIs, and we can also easier analyze and plan this personal growth plan for our team members. So why is this important? Employer branding directly impacts recruitment speed, cost, quality of hires. Companies with strong employer brand receive up to 50% more qualified applicants. That's according to LinkedIn Talent Solutions research. And employer branding reputation is influencing employee retention, engagement, and performance. Whenever the employer branding is weak, it negatively affects customer trust and overall company image. I keep saying that your competitive advantage is your employer branding now, because earlier the focus was that employer branding is looking good in front of candidates to attract better candidates, to keep current team members. But now it is also accessible more and more. It's not only for bigger organizations, small organizations can also adjust and implement employer branding elements, processes very easily, and increase it. And it is competitive advantage overall. So what makes a strong employer brand? Let's talk about that. First of all, employer value proposition, EVP. It is defined. It defines the real value employees receive in exchange for their contribution. Strong employer value proposition is related to leadership behavior, culture, development, and rewards. And it must reflect reality. It's sometimes that I can see that companies are investing, building the brand, they invest in um, a lot of nicely made videos where they are saying, this is this, we're growing, everything is so nice. And it's like the picture that is painted is like super nice. But whenever a person comes to work in the organization, what they deal is totally far from what has been declared over those advertised videos. So the damage can be very big. And sometimes organizations are saying, oh, you know, we have been investing, we invested and we expected some better results. However, this is what is happening. So what can we do, you know? So start from the inside, and go up. So organizations with a clear employer value proposition experience higher engagement and retention. And no, I'm not talking here about job ads, because sometimes whenever we are doing recruitment projects, we are asking, what is it that you are offering for your candidates? What is it that you do in the company? And to say just that we are a friendly team, we have social guarantees. This is so updated. You need to find the real value. Sometimes even small things that organizations are doing internally in the teams. They, for example, our our team members, they were saying, you know, nobody is saying in the job ad, and we asked our team members, what do you think about this job ad? What is missing? And they were saying, oh, but here is not mentioned that we have coffee in the office, we have fruit delivery, fresh fruit delivery every week, we have this and that, you know, we have team building every month with different activities. It's all that is sometimes seems like very natural and small things, but these small things, like there is a saying, devil is in the details. These small things, they are super important for attracting the candidates, because for us it's something useful, for them it might be something that is new. So growth, learning, and career development, it means about the opportunities. And it is one of the top reasons when these things are lacking that employees are leaving organizations. And LinkedIn data shows that companies investing in learning see up to 30% higher retention rates. So it means that employees, whenever they understand, we are also speaking about hospitality training, that whenever a person understands why is he or she doing the task, not only how to do the task, but why they are doing, how to make it correctly. This can increase the income, not only for the organization, but also the person will be earning better tips and bonuses, you know. So it is important to invest in this, because it's overall not only for the employees, but also for the whole organization. Clear career path, it's increasing motivation and long-term commitment. Sometimes people are coming and have expectations that, you know, I want to grow, but in reality, the organization is very flat, and there is growth either to moving to another department, or upskilling and learning some new skills, but it's not about becoming the manager. And whenever you share that this is the situation, would you be comfortable, or do you have expectations that you would have the possibility to promote, you know, and to be promoted? So in this case, being sincere and honest with the candidates, it is giving a sense of clarity, expectations, and it also filters out the people who have these kind of expectations. So again, one of the reasons where we have job hopping and the other things, when we don't have the right communication, when somebody has one expectation and the other is not communicating about it at all, and there is the gap, and there comes dissatisfaction with the organization, with the manager, and people are leaving. Clear career path increases motivation. So it is also easier using AI tools, HR systems to measure motivation. It is easier to measure burnout of the employees, possible burnout. And it's also easier to help and plan long-term career and upskilling for these people. So I think that's very, very essential in the long term. Internal mobility strengthens employer brand credibility, of course. Work-life balance. I love saying that it's life-work balance and well-being. Predictable workloads and flexible working models reduce burnout risks. We have already been talking and shared some posts and some articles about possible rearrangements of work models where it can be 4 days working week, it can be remote work, it can be hybrid work, it also can be shortened working hours, which also gives some benefits for the organization, even though it seems like people will be working less. However, you know, it's not always that working. This 5 hours makes people fully present all of these 8 hours, because people are humans are humans. We get tired, we're not robots, things happen, we have life behind the job, so it can be. And employees expect respect for personal boundaries and recovery time. There is already the law where which is saying that you cannot disturb the time and send emails and so on, or the employee does not necessarily have to respond after work. Again, we're seeing some that this well-being and life and work balance is more prevalent in Europe, and especially in Scandinavia, as to compare it, for example, in the United States, where it's like work, 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 whatever comes. So it's also about the culture, I believe. And employers who prioritize well-being, they are perceived as more attractive and trustworthy. I know someone who works in a company where they invest a lot because the job in customer support is very stressful. So this organization is really so good at investing in providing psychological help, coaching, support, also a program where employees can use their bonuses for their health insurance extra, and so on. So it's like that it's a whole system that you can create and take care of your team members. Let's speak about culture, leadership, and employee experience. So leadership behavior directly shapes everyday employee experience. I like the saying that practice what you preach and walk the talk. Sometimes we can see that the managers, they are demanding something from their team members to be accountable, to work and do things in a certain way. Or, for example, work in the office, but what actually happens, they are demanding that everybody works in the office. However, whenever they need something for personal reasons, they quite usually don't follow this. So, and then it's about disrespect, it's about the culture and trust in there. And again, how the leaders are showing up, that's also attributed to the whole brand, the whole organization, how much ever is tolerated. Poor leadership is one of the strongest drivers of negative employer reviews. We keep on saying that, and usually what we hear, why people are leaving the organization, usually the reason is because of the managers, because managers are responsible for communication, for clearing, solving situations, fairness, and so on. So culture becomes visible externally through employee voice. And sometimes it can be also in a good way that employees are sharing what's happening, how they are happy. And we can see a lot of very good and nice examples on social media, on Instagram Reels, on TikTok. This is where people are participating and making it fun, enjoyable, and nice. And when you see, it's also relatable to the brand. So now, as I mentioned before, that earlier it was the top management who were the faces of the organization, and they would be promoting how everything is nice. We would have real videos, and now it's user or candidate or employee generated content. Some things are already changing, and people are trusting more the people who are like them. This is more relevant, and this is more enjoyable and interesting and authentic. So these stories, they outperform the corporate messaging, which is very formal, and sometimes it seems like it's very, very far, because we can trust, and we can see that it's more natural, it's more understandable and relatable. Glassdoor and similar platforms strongly influence employer perception because positive internal experience translates into stronger external reputation. So let's move into the part about AI. How is AI reshaping employer branding? I love this topic because 5 years ago, I was participating in a conference where it was about AI and HR that I was speaking. And I remember the view, the situation, how everything was just starting, and how we were talking about AI, how it will change, how it will shift. And now, after a few years, we can already see what is the change, how fast it is evolving, we already see what are the risks. So in AI, in HR, AI accelerates recruitment processes and reduces administrative workload. We can automate a lot of processes. We can automate the messages, the candidate application system. We can measure easier experience and responsiveness for our current employees. And according to HR studies, 65% of companies already use AI in job ad creation. So I think it is already old news to use AI in job ad creation, but it can be used much more widely in every process. So faster processes positively impact employer perception. It can impact directly even how candidates are perceiving, because they will be receiving messages, confirmations right after one another, which makes it easier to reach out and to go through the whole process. Where is the negative part is that sometimes whenever organizations automate too many processes, there is a lack of human communication. So that can be a little bit tricky. So data-driven talent decisions, AI improves matching between candidates and roles based on skills and values. Organizations using AI-based matching report up to 25 higher first-year retention. Predictive analytics help identify early turnover risks, and data-driven decisions reduce hiring costs and mistakes. So that can be true. Of course, sometimes it happens that AI still is not that good as recognizing emotional. It can be, as we know, for example, ChatGPT, it can be people pleasing. But if we are using overall and still not trusting only solely on this, but supervise it, it can be of a really great help. And also AI allows to avoid discrimination based on age and other factors. So it can be a huge help and make things easier. So AI also enables personalized employer branding messages for different talent segments. content can be adjusted to different platforms, roles, and target audiences. And if you're using consistent employer brand communication, it improves recognition. Whenever it is consistent overall, every single channel where you are communicating, this will be easier to recognize. Again, for different channels, for different channels and generations, for example, there is also some trend whenever it's AI generated content and it's showed more on TikTok, for example, and for Instagram Reels, this is not working because the age of the users is different already. So using the same message but different ways, different communication using AI, it can be very useful in the long-term branding. Human-centered use of AI. AI should support, not replace, human judgment and leaderships. Because sometimes what happens is we are automating a lot, and people are feeling that this is automation, this is automation, this is automation. Everything goes smoothly. You just press the buttons, you get automated emails, you see that it's not necessarily that personalized, and you don't get to reach out to the human, especially in the hiring process. So how do you know what's happening? Who are the people over there? Is everything robotic, and has it been somehow made and trusted? Because if it is only emails, messages, confirmations, but no single personal call, that can be kind of perceived as cold communication. So transparency in AI usage builds trust with candidates and employees. Sometimes we notice and we hear that HR managers and recruiters start using tools, for example, Fireflies, right? Or some other transcription services. It is integrated in the process, for example, using in the interviews that can be done. And it can be that we need to integrate it also in the training. We now need to integrate and get people acquainted before the interview that, for example, this interview will be transcribed. Will you agree, or will you continue participating if that's the case, right? It can be helpful if, for example, we are using it, that we are talking to the person and actually fully focused on this person. However, it is the good side. However, we need to integrate and update communications. We need to update the candidate privacy policy. We need to integrate it into automated emails. Whatever is the pipeline, everything needs to be clear. So then ethical AI practices are increasingly expected in the Nordic markets, and human connection remains essential despite automation. AI cannot replace human. We have also tried AI solutions for cold calling. nothing works better than the person. So AI amplifies both positive and negative employer signals. Whenever we only make it very automated, it is very robotic. It's no emotions. It's poor processes. They become visible faster through digital channels. However, if we have well-designed AI, it will enhance trust, fairness, experience. Employer branding and technology strategy must be aligned. As I'm also noticing that more and more we can be having much better experience, and the skills that we are using, these skills are getting more and more sharp. If we're talking about the communication, then automation allows us only to focus on that. So we're working with talent dynamics testing system, and this system is allowing us to determine, for example, how many hours the person should be spending on strategic tasks on people-oriented tasks? Is it about innovation implementation? Is it about people or strategy? So whenever AI allows to automate a lot of processes, our skills and possibilities, they are more crystallized. So it allows us to avoid burnout much better with that as well. Or vice versa, if we are in the wrong position and we are doing what we're not supposed to do, then that will keep us drained. So let's move and see what employers must prepare for, because what has changed from last year up to now, it is from awareness to measurable business impact. The connection between leadership, culture, employer reputation needs to be stronger. KPIs such as retention, engagement, and candidate quality, they are more important. However, AI allows us to dive deeper into KPIs for harder measurable areas. As I'm saying, for example, I have very simple example from my personal life. I have been a fan of Apple products, and I have been measuring my health using some apps. But I recently found an app that is employing AI, and it allows to measure and analyze the same metrics much deeper. So using AI, it allows to look into areas that are measurable much more difficult, analyze even subtle signs. So we can use it for the benefit of keeping retention of employees and measuring how it is affecting the organization. So accountability for employer brand increases at leadership level. However, it is not only that it is the leadership is responsible for it, it is also that employees are creating the employee candidate content, employee generated content about what is happening in the organization, how fun or not fun it is, and so on. So the more power goes to current employees in the organization about employer branding building. EU Pay Transparency Directive. We have been talking about this since last year. I cannot count how many workshops we have done on this, and we will be repeating about it. If you connect with me and follow our socials, you will be able to sign up for the 1 or 2 that we are going to repeat again. So by 2026 June, salary ranges must be included in job advertisements. It cannot be shifting. Employers are prohibited from asking candidates about salary history. And sometimes also candidates are already saying, why should I tell somebody my salary? How is it affected if it is smaller or bigger? It's my choice to come here to work for you for this salary that we are talking about. And if that's the case, that's interesting for me, but it should not be related to how much I was earning before. Pay transparency directly affects employer credibility. It's like by default, the more transparent you are, the more people are trusting. Non-compliance risks, legal and reputational consequences. If it comes out that in the organization people have different pays, there is a pay gap between women and men, for example. If people working in the same positions are earning different salaries, that's not giving a nice way for the organization. It throws a shade on it. So transparency strengthens trust between employer and employee, and Nordic markets already expect openness and fairness. It's about transparency, and transparency attract more qualified candidates. So following this, naturally, it's already a good way to show and position yourself in the market, but it's already becoming necessary. So sometimes it's not only about necessary. Some companies are trying to make it formal, but whenever it's natural, that's giving the good vibe. So earlier it was focus on experimentation and adaptation. Now it's about structure, measurement, and consistency. And employer branding becomes embedded in the strategy, and long-term thinking replaces short-term hiring tactics. And it's not only about hiring. I could say that I noticed the trend about training. Companies are more and more investing in sustainable hiring, and also investing in training their teams. Resilience, emotional intelligence, a lot of different soft skills that are needed and are not necessarily directly related to their roles, but it's overall about the well-being. So strategic takeaways for employers, it's about continuous investment and leadership ownership strategy. Culture, well-being, and technology must support each other, and AI should enhance human experience, not replace it. And preparation for for 2026 determines future preparedness. So key takeaways that I want to put an accent for as we are coming to the end of this webinar is that Nordic labor market has shifted from employee competition to employer competition, where reputation, culture, leadership determine talent attraction, and companies are choosing partnerships with organizations that have good reputation as employers. Employees increasingly choose employers based on work-life or life-work balance, transparency, growth opportunities, everyday experience. Employer branding is no longer an HR or marketing initiative, but a strategic business factor impacting performance, retention, and trust. And organizations that fail to adapt face higher turnover, longer hiring times, and weaker employer credibility. It is also adjusting to the shifting market needs. I see that we are 5-6 years post pandemics, and the shift is changing, and some people are so used that and not only people but also the management is getting used. Those who have the processes set right, those who have been working on it and adjusted, they are using the global talent worldwide. And we see a lot of successful examples in this, because companies can be moving and shifting their bases across the world. What employers must act on, it's that employer branding now becomes measurable, structured, and closely linked to leadership accountability, transparency driven by both market expectations and EU regulation becomes a reputation driver. AI and data-driven solutions, they allow to enhance recruitment, retention, employer branding consistency when used ethically. But also we need not to forget that culture, leadership behavior, and technology, and also communication, it is all about being human. So we can automate the processes, but let's not forget that behind every role is a human. And we need to still keep in touch and communicate this. Employer branding is not what organizations say about themselves, it's what employees experience and share every day. So don't forget that employee generated content, this is very important. This is becoming the trend, and encourage, suggest if they feel like that they participate in this as well. So you will get as a little gift from us a takeaway checklist. If you are watching our webinar as a live event, you can comment in the comments section, and we will reach out and send you this checklist. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I have finally published a book which is called Remote is Human. It's building teams that belong. It's about hybrid and remote teams, how to make the processes work, how to check and build the culture, how to check where are the bottlenecks. I'm also doing the trainings for remote team leaders about this. And you can also purchase the book on Amazon, and you can find it and get it very quickly. So let's stay connected. You can always reach out to me. You can write. Please share the feedback of if this was useful today. If you have some insights, maybe you disagree about this. And for now, thank you for participation. Simona, do we have some questions or? We have no questions. Yes. Okay. I think we can also get in touch, and those who have been watching us can leave the comments in the comment section, because we are on Facebook, Instagram, and also on LinkedIn network. So, and for now, thank you for staying here all of this time. I promise that it will be a bit shorter, but it's a lot to share about. It's a lot of different trends that are affecting, and I really hope that it was useful for you. And yes, I see. Yeah, I see. Yes. So the question goes, thank you for so much for an informative session. Really learned a lot. Just one question, could you please share how a company can strengthen its employer brand among Gen Z so that talented candidates are naturally attracted to apply for roles on their own? We have upcoming workshop where we will be also sharing about the motivation of different generations. So follow us for on our social media, and you will see it. I think we are having it in March or the beginning of April, and shortly I have been doing training for one company about this topic. So it's the different motivations for Gen Z and the others, millennials. It's the language. It's also about the channels where you are communicating. The benefits that you're communicating, we need to understand. And I like saying, using one example, that depending on the age or generations working in the organizations, we can have very, very much different motivations. We had one client who told me, Diana, I don't even know what to do and how to solve it, because it seems like whatever we are offering, we have pizza Fridays and so on, people are not interested. And they said, but did you ask your people what do they want? And he was like, no, but it seems like it's obvious, everybody's doing this pizza Friday. And then when they finally made a little questionnaire and asked their team members what they wanted, it was that it came out that somebody is not able to eat pizza because of the gluten stuff. Somebody does not like pizza because there is some meat in there, and they would prefer some more variety or different kind of foods, healthy attitude, and so on. So it was a lot of variety of answers, and based on different generations working in there, they changed completely to some healthy alternatives, not for pizza, but for some other foods. So I believe that it's always depending on where you are, which even country, because it can also be some cultural things. You should ask your team members. What is important to you? What motivates you? What is it that attracts you, or what would you prefer? What is your suggestion? Not to let it down, but ask and hear, and then implement this. So follow us on socials. We will have this webinar about different motivations and how to attract different candidates of different generations about this. And thank you for the question. It's really interesting and good one. So far, I see I have answered this question. And yes, I want to thank everyone for participating, or those who are watching offline the recording, that you're staying up until the end. It's hopefully very useful information that you can take a little bit and improve your organization's employer branding at least a little bit. Thank you.